Okay, so I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff. And the idea is to calculate the electric field due to multiple charges as vectors. And we can do a whole bunch of cool stuff with this, and we're going to do it in Python. But there's some background stuff that we need, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to know is electric field is a vector. So what do we know about vectors? So if you have a vector, one of the things that we can do is to break that vector into components. So we have an x, y, and z component of each vector. This is a three-dimensional vector that you see right here. R equals 1, 2, 3 meters. That's a position vector. So 1 is in the x, is 1 meter in the x direction, 2 meters in the y direction, and 3 in the z. And I just picked 1, 2, and 3 because they looked cool. Okay, how do you add and subtract vectors? Really, we need to add vectors, and we're going to need to subtract vectors. If you want to add vectors, if I have two vectors, I can add them by adding up their components. So I can add their x components together, add their y components together, and their z components together, and that's the resultant. What if I want to subtract vectors? Then I have to subtract their components. This is important because what I'm going to do is to have two vectors, two position vectors, and I want to find the resulting vector displacement from one location to another. So it'd be final minus initial is going to be my displacement vector, and that's what we're going to use for R. What about scalar multiplication? What if I have some vector R and I multiply it by a scalar value S? In that case, you just multiply each component by that scalar factor. So if R is Rx, Ry, Rz, I multiply by the scalar S, I get the new vector Srx, Sry, Srz. I can find the magnitude of a vector. It's just the same thing as a Pythagorean theorem, but in 3 dimensions. So it'd be the x component squared plus the y component squared plus the z component squared square rooted. And then finally we have this idea of a unit vector. A unit vector is a unitless vector. I know it's weird to call it a unit vector. In the direction of a vector. And we need this because if I have some scalar value and I want to make it a vector, I would multiply it by a unit vector. Because the unit vector has a magnitude of 1 and no units. It doesn't change the magnitude, but it turns it into a vector. Okay, I know that was a lot, but that was just where we are. Okay, so what about the electric field due to a single point charge? So here I have this red positive point charge, and the blue dot represents some point in space that I want to calculate the electric field. If I calculated the force on that blue charge, and I divided by the value of that blue charge, that would be the electric field. That's how we define the electric field. It's the force per unit charge. Okay, so it's the force if I put a test charge here. So since I know we have this Coulomb force, the K Q1 Q2 over R squared, that if I divide by one of the Q's, I get the electric field. So the magnitude electric field is going to be K times Q over R squared, where R is the distance from the point charge to the location where I want to find the electric field. And K is this Coulomb constant, 9 times 10 to the 9th, Newton meter squared per Coulomb squared. What if I want to find the magnitude, the vector electric field? Not just the magnitude. And a lot of introductory textbooks, we just say, oh, magnitude, what's the magnitude, who cares? But when we get to more complicated situations, we need a vector expression. So it looks just like the scalar expression with one big difference. I have K, the Coulomb constant. Q is the charge of the thing I'm trying to find the electric field due to. This would be the Q of the red charge. And then I have the magnitude of the distance from that charge to the point where I want to find the electric field. And I'm calling that the magnitude of the vector R. R is a vector from the point charge to the location I want to find the electric field. And then finally, I have to multiply it by R hat. If you don't do that, you don't get a vector, right? So I need to find that magnitude of the vector R, and I need to find the unit vector R hat. That's the only way that it'll work. Okay, let's do an example in Python. So Python isn't anything special, but it allows us to deal with vectors and allows us to calculate things that may be a little bit more difficult. So let's assume that we have a 5 nanocoulomb charge at the origin. So it's at x equals 0, y equals 0, z equals 0. What is the electric field on the x-axis at 0.1 meters away from the origin. So you could do this problem on paper, and you should. Okay, and I'm pause the video and do that, and then write it as a vector. You can think about what direction should this electric field be in. You can do the whole thing. So you could also do that by using this formula, the vector formula. In this case, r is going to be the vector 0.100, because that's the vector from the origin where the charge is to the location that we're trying to find the electric field. R hat is going to be the x direction, so it'd actually be the vector 100. Okay, but that's not super important. You could just say it's in the x direction at this point. So do this problem on paper. It's going to help you understand it better. Now, what if I have two charges? I have here two charges, Q1 and Q2, and I want to find, and I changed the color, I know. I want to find the electric field at the red location, the observation location. How do you find the electric field due to two charges? Well, what you do is you find the electric field due to charge 1, and I call that E1. I find the electric field due to charge 2. I call that E2. And then the superposition principle says that the total electric field at that point is equal to the vector sum of E1 and E2. So I can find the individual electric fields, which isn't terribly difficult, and then just add the two electric fields together to get the total. So here's how we're going to do that. The first thing is find the position and charge of point 1, and then we're going to find the observation location, and then we're going to find the vector from charge 1 to the observation location. We need to find the magnitude of that vector, we need to find the unit vector, and then we can find the electric field E1. And then we can do the same thing for charge 2, and then we can add those two electric fields together. Here's the code. I'm not going to go over it because it's just a lot of stuff, but this is everything that we're going to do. There are some things in here that are confusing because in Python we can actually draw three-dimensional objects. We're going to draw the electric field. We're going to draw the point charges so you can get a representation of what that looks like. That's what makes this so powerful. So if you look up here in line 7, Q1 is actually a three-dimensional object that's built into Python called a sphere. So I can give it a location and a radius and a color and all that stuff. I'm gonna give you that stuff initially so you can see how it works. And then I make another charge, Q2, that's in line 12, and I calculate the electric fields and I print it out. But I also make an arrow representing that electric field. Okay. Now here is a really important thing in line 40. E scale equals 0.1 divided by the magnitude of E. So there's a ton of stuff here. I'm just giving you a preview here. I can find the magnitude of a vector in Python with this mag function. So if I put mag and then have a vector R2, that gives me the magnitude. I can find a unit vector with the norm function. So if I say norm R2, that is R2 hat. So that's what that E scale is, because it's a connection between a physical distance and the value of the electric field. Because I'm drawing this arrow as a object with some length, and I need some translation between meters and electric fields in newtons per coulomb. And that's what that E scale is. Okay, so if you ran that program, here's what it would look like. You see the two charges, the red objects, and you see the yellow arrow is the electric field, and then I print out electric field due to 1, electric field due to 2, and the total as vectors. And that's pretty cool. And the code's all there for you, okay? So here's some things for you to try. A negative 3 Newton Coulomb charge is located at the following location, and the 7 is at the other location. What's the electric field? So you can modify the code and run this and see if you get the answer. And that's all in the thing. What about a dipole? So a dipole is something that we see in real life. It has a charge Q and an opposite charge negative Q separated by some distance. It turns out that this comes up all over the place. Okay, so it's super important. The total charge of a dipole is 0, but it still makes an electric field because you have Q and negative Q are different locations. Here's what a program for that would look like. It's similar to the last program. But I put the two charges different colors so you can see what they look like, and we can calculate the electric field at any location, really. And here you can see it's pointing away to the right, because it's, in this case, it's closer to the positive charge than it is from the negative charge. So the contribution due to the positive charge is greater, giving an electric field to the right. But play with this code and answer the following questions. What happens to the electric field as you move further away? That should not be the R symbol, from the dipole. What happens to the if you increase the separation between the two charges, and what happens if you increase the values of the charges? So those are things you can play with. Now you could do that and collect data and write it down on paper and make a graph on your own, and that is fine. But if you want to make a graph, these are the things that you would put in here. I'll give you another link for making graphs. So you just need the first line in this code makes a graph with the axes and everything like that. F1 is the line that would be plotted. And then every time you do F1.plot, the x coordinate and the y coordinate, it puts a dot on the graph. So what about a dipole? What if you have a charge, a dipole of 6 and negative 6 nanocoulombs separated by 0.1 meters? Create a graph showing the magnitude of electric field as a function of distance from the center of the dipole, and it's, keep moving further and further away. This expression is the approximate electric field due to a dipole without actually doing it. So you can see if that matches your data. Okay, so that's enough to get you started. I know that was really quick and there's a lot of stuff there, but take your time and let me know if you have any questions, and have fun.